Good morning, grade 10. I'm going to do with you the effect on the accounting equation. So we're just going to move back to exercise 14.7. I know this says 14.3, but we're working 14.7 is based on this. Now you will remember that in a salaries journal, we did the gross salary. And when we posted that 15,000 Rand, we saw that in the salaries journal, the salaries was debited with gross salaries and all those other funds were credited because they were all creditors, okay? So the first effect on the accounting equation is actually that one, where salaries is debited and all my creditors are credited, okay? So we know that salaries is debited. Salaries is part of my owner's equity. So what happened here? My salaries decreased with 15,000 Rand. The reason is why? Salaries is an expense. Okay. And then all my liabilities increased. Plus 900 Rand, the pension fund increased. Plus 75 Rand, UIF increased. Plus 480, the medical aid increased. Okay, I'm not going to write that out, everything. Plus 3525 SAID, South African, SARS, sorry, that's Afrikaans. SARS, South African Revenue Service, increased. And 10,020, that was my creditors for salaries, increased. Okay, so that is when you post the salaries journal. This is exactly how that happens. Okay, but now how do you show the effect on the accounting equation when you pay these funds? Now, then you go to your cash payments journal, and you will remember in my cash payments journal, this was the one that we did, 14.7, and we paid all these creditors. Right, so what happened to my bank? My bank decreased with that amount, and that's where we get started, right? So what do I say? My bank decreased with 15,555. Why? My cash or my bank decreased, okay? What happened to all my creditors? They all decreased. So decreased with 10,020, 900 Rand, 960, 900 and what is it? It's 3,525 and 150 Rand. That is the UIF. That was SARS. This one was my medical, no, this one was my pension fund, that one was my medical aid, and that one was my creditors for salaries. But what did we forget? We forgot those two contributions, okay, that comes from the pocket of the business. And what happened here? We had our medical fund contribution, and you will remember we've got that on salaries journal. Can you remember that? That was the business's contribution towards the medical fund and towards UIF. That's expenses to the business, and that must be shown. So it's 480 Rand medical aid contribution, okay, and the other one, and of course then 480 medical aid increases. The other one was, what contribution did I have? I had 75 UIF contribution, and that also increased my UIF fund. Okay, so when I paid my fund, I had to pay him that 75 Rand as well as that 75 Rand. So that's the 150. So those two go there. And of course, the medical aid, 480 that I paid on behalf of the employee, and 480 from my own pocket, and that gives me the 960. So that 480 all together is paid. Right, gentlemen, now you can just look at your planning for the week. The next exercise that you have to do is exercise 14.10. This is unfortunately the only example of the effect on the accounting equation, and I think this is one of the most important exercises in the chapter, and this will definitely be asked in the exam. I promise you that. Thank you, grade 10.